What a season it has been so far in the Wawa Cup Series 2023 season. Tonight, we reach the halfway point of the season, and we're going to do it at a historic racetrack that is making its return in real life this weekend. But for the third time ever, we run the Southern States 400 at the North Wilkesboro Speedway here in the Wawa Cup Series 2023 season. Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the North Wilkesboro Speedway here in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. We're here for the Southern States 400, 100 laps around the 0.625 mile speedway. Or should I say short track? This is a short track, but it's going to be a fast-paced race, especially if we go caution-free. Who knows what we're going to see today? We had two cautions on Wednesday in the Wawa Sprint Series race. We toned these guys down a little bit so we avoid a wreck fest, but there's going to be a cycle of pit stops, and if we stay green, we're going to have a green flag cycle of pit stops in this race. And when we went to Bristol, we had the competition caution. No competition caution for this race at a 60-lap fuel run. It's going to be interesting to see how that affects these guys. Joined alongside Nathan Stablen for the call of this race. And Nathan, this championship battle, especially these guys trying to get into the chase, is incredibly tight and is really tightened up over the past few races. And then you got the wild card battle with 6 drivers in that. A lot of these guys who have been running well as of late, starting up front in this race, like Drew Webb and Seth Cole, our last two winners. My question to you is, will this championship battle spread out a little bit here tonight, or will it continue to close back in, as we only have 6 races left until the cutoff?
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see what ends up happening here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. I think we might see a mix of both. We might see some drivers pull away, but we might see some drivers have some bad ones, and maybe have the Trace Carb get even tired than it already is, with Riera, Tuck, Pun, and still all right there. And then you got the 61, the 82, the 123 also in range of making it into the chase as of now. So it's very, very tight. There's 6 races to go, and then it's also tight for the wild card, and it's going to be very interesting of what ends up happening. Hopefully we don't see too much short track racing like we saw on Wednesday night for the Sprint Series.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how well these guys race it. And you see Chase Buck starting on the pole. And when we went to Bristol, and I feel like this race may play out kind of like Bristol did. Had a very clean race there at the world's fastest half mile. Chase Buck led all but 1 lap in that race. And if he can get pulled away here at the start of this one, he might have a shot at getting his second win of the season. And he needs it as well. Had a solid run at Darlington, kind of added a little bit of a buffer there in the point standings. He's 13 ahead of the cutoff, but his teammate is still the points leader. Thomas Troxel, 64 points ahead of the cutoff, so still a full race win worth of points ahead of that cutoff coming into this race. The downside for Troxel, he starts 25th here tonight. Drew Webb, who has been on fire as of late, got the win at Kansas and led the most laps last week at Darlington. He's 44 points ahead. Dylan Matthews, also another guy to watch out for. He starts 3rd here tonight, 36 points ahead of the cutoff. Nicholas Samadio, deep in the field to start this one, 28 points ahead. And then LJ Semedo, also kind of deep in the field, midway through the field here tonight, 16 points ahead. Our pole sitter, Chase Buck, is 13 points ahead. Brad Stover is 10 points ahead. Tanner Pardon and Matt Tuck tied for 8th, 7 points ahead each. And then Aliera holding on to the last spot right now, 3 points ahead of Ludovic Charette, who is 3 points behind. Seth Cole, who won last week at Darlington, 8 points behind. Rogel Dorn is only 12 points behind. And then a bit of a gap there to Braden Perez, 25 behind. And then 34, 37 behind for Master Trey Wright. And then Echo Evans Ross there. And you've got some of those guys who are right there, along that cutoff, kind of starting up front in this race. Going to be interesting to see how it all ends up shaking out. Seth Cole, one of those guys trying to make it into the chase course, won last week at Darlington. Echo Evans Ross trying to rebound her season after all the mechanical issues she has had. She starts on the outside pole here. Who knows what we're going to see here tonight, and it's going to be fascinating to see how the championship ends up shaking out once we get down to it. Like I mentioned, though, Chase Buck starting on the pole position there for Pacific Racing. Great starting position for him, obviously, as he's starting on the pole. And kind of fell back a little bit the past few races, but he was really good at Bristol, trying to get his second win of the season. Echo Evans Ross trying to get her second win of the season as well, and she needs it, even though that second win won't give her an advantage in the wild card in terms of the other drivers. She's going to get a lot of points if she does go to victory lane. Dylan Matthews doesn't need to win here tonight, but a race victory would absolutely make him a championship favorite. Logan Williams trying to rebound his season, starts in the 4th position. Drew Webb, probably the hottest driver in the Wawa Cup Series right now, starting in 5th, alongside Blaine Keys, who won the Melialo Smooth Fest at New Smyrna. Kind of a similar track in a way to this one. Seth Cole, our last winner, to the inside of Christian Master in row 4, and Elijah Gordon with a top 10 starting position. Great to see that out of him, alongside Aliera there in the number 5. And make sure that, we'll get these guys to roll off, and then we'll make sure everyone, in fact, rolls off all right here from the North Wilkesboro Speedway. We'll go ahead and get these guys to roll off now. Chase Buck going to lead us to the green flag, make sure everybody rolls off here, and we're all good to go. Looks like we are, in fact, good to go. So, Nathan, a lot of strong drivers starting up front here tonight. Who do you think is going to win this Southern States 400 at North Wilkesboro?
Well, I think track position might play into a major factor. And I'm going to go with the poster. Chase Buck, I think, is going to do what he did at Bristol and get win number 2 on the season.
It'll definitely be a huge win for Chase Buck, trying to make it into the chase on points. Of course, regardless of the fact he needs a good run here tonight to give him a bit of a buffer heading into the final 5 races of the regular season. We're going to be halfway through the regular season once we are done here tonight, leading in the next week's Coke 600. But we're green flag on the short track at North Wilkesboro in the Southern States 400 here in the Wawa Cup Series. And a good jump there for Chase Buck at the start. Bonus point towards the championship for leading that lap. Echo Evans-Ross, she's going to file in the 2nd. Dylan Matthews there in 3rd, and 3 wide. Seth Cole, Logan Williams, and Blaine Keys. Elijah Gordon on the inside lane as well. We've got to watch out for this. We saw a lot of attrition in the Wawa Sprint Series as Roberto Crown Jr. Oh, that was tight right there. LJ Semedo goes around in the outside wall with Christian Vargas. They keep it together. We are still green. Not anymore. Ludovic Charette goes around. Andrew Miller spins around in the 88. And Eric Monaco caught up as well. And that was very similar to what we saw in the Wawa Sprint Series race the other night. Chase Buck wins the race back to the line. I'm sure he didn't really want to see that. Wanted to definitely get a bit of a lead on these guys. But LJ Semedo getting spun around. That's the guy who's 5th in the points standings. Gaining some damage and falling behind quite a bit there from that. Thankfully, a relatively minor accident, but Eric Monaco, Ludovic Charette did not need that either. He's going to fall back to the last position because of that incident. And the caution flag is out here in North Wilkesboro early on in the Southern States 400.
That's unfortunate. I was about to say 3 wide was very sketchy, and unfortunately it did not play out there. And they were 4, almost 5 wide in turn 1 and 2, and eventually it didn't work out, and unfortunately already got some cars with some damage early on here at North Wilkesboro.
And Daniel Paulus Jr. caught up in that one as well. Andrew Miller went spinning in the 88. Christian Vargas, he's got some damage right there in the 57. And then LJ Semedo was the one who initially went around right there, and it took him a while before they actually had to trigger the caution. Roberto Crown Jr. was the first one, though, to go around. They hit the inside wall and came back up, but we'll have to see if that affects them. They're still 16th after all that. Going to be interesting to see how their race is affected. Still too early on for these guys to come down the pit lane. Like I said, a 60-lap fuel run here at North Wilkesboro, so we're going to go ahead and see what happened to bring out the first caution of the night in the Southern States 400. And get to the restart with Chase Buck leading the field here at North Wilkesboro. Well, this is what happened here. We got 3 wide and just such a tight racetrack. Nathan mentioned it on Wednesday. Such a narrow racetrack here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. And Roberto Crown just a little loose there on the inside of Aliera. No room there for them and into the inside wall. And sometimes these guys can save it. Couldn't do it there. Chris Reynolds with a piece of it there. And then LJ Semedo really getting hit hard. Getting in the Luna Lona in the 0-5. And this one took a while to really become a true accident. The caution's still not out at this point. They're still going straight. Christian Vargas gaining some damage there in the 57. And then it's back in here. Eric Monaco and Ludovic Charette, who were already kind of deep in the field, they were already 4 wide back in here, trying to scramble around to get away from it. Skylar Taylor, Trinity Ida on the inside of all that. Braden Perez at the back of the field right here. And then it's when they get to Vargas and Daniel Paulus Jr., who was behind that. Taylor kind of moves up just a little bit there. Ida moved up on Taylor, moved up in the Monaco, and then Ludovic Charette. And that is what ensued right there. Tough break for Ludovic Charette. Absolutely needed a good run here tonight. And he's going to fall back a little bit further because he does not have a win. Does not have a win in that wild card race. And Andrew Miller got tapped there and spun around. But thankfully not a violent accident. Everyone's still going to be in the race, but Daniel Paulus Jr. going to be a lap down. He had to come down to repair damage. Everyone else, though, still on the lead lap here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway.
All right. 3 wide off of turn number 4, the 21 of Clown Jr. up the racetrack, and then the 71 of San Mateo, and they saved it 5 wide at North Wilkesboro, and then they just squeezed them. This train reaction, and unfortunately, the 41 got a piece of it, and then they in the middle got a piece of it for another wreck. That was like 3 or 4 wrecks all in one. That went from turn 4 all the way to turn 2.
That's how the wrecks are here in North Wilkesboro, and we saw it on Wednesday night as well. Well, Chase Buck's the race leader. No one came down the pit lane, so let's see what happens on the restart here in the Southern States 400 at North Wilkesboro. We're back here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway in the Wawa Cup Series, race 15 of the season. And already a bit of carnage there early on here on the short track in western North Carolina. Chase Buck, North Carolina native, looking to win in his home state here. Of course, heading into the Coke 600 next weekend. That's going to be a fun race there for 100 laps at Charlotte. Chase Buck trying to get this race victory heading into that event. Echo Evans-Ross is second, trying to get her second win of the season. And then Dylan Matthews, Drew Webb, Seth Cole, Logan Williams, Elijah Gordon, Blaine Keys, Tanner Parton, and Christian Master, the top 10. Nobody out of the race, but Daniel Paulus Jr. had to come down the pit lane and repair damage. He is a lap down. Here we go for the restart. And we saw this in the Sprint Series race. These guys really going wide through turns 1 and 2 and turns 3 and 4. Very hard to hold the inside here in North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, we are seeing that these guys line up in the second lane, and we saw that a lot in the Sprint Series race, and seeing that somewhat here on this restart. Have to see if that provides some passing opportunities, maybe even for the race lead with Echo Evans-Ross right here and Chase Buck. And have to see if things calm down a little bit on this restart since we still have 90 laps to go at the line.
Absolutely. Seth Cole looking to the inside, getting a little loose there on the inside lane. It's hard to get that inside lane to work sometimes, because you can see right there just how loose these guys can get. Elijah Gordon going to take advantage here to the inside of Logan Williams for position. These are two drivers who absolutely need a good run here tonight. And Logan Williams trying to rebound. He's 25th in the point standings coming into this race. Seth Cole again really wide there off the exit, trying to get around Drew Webb, just can't quite get to him there. Their last 2 winners here in the Wawa Cup Series going after it there for 4th. Now, how about the Hamill Racing Enterprises teammates? Dylan Matthews and Echo Evans-Ross 2nd and 3rd. And then you got Chase Buck continuing to lead this field. His teammate Thomas Troxel, definitely a guy I want to watch out for here tonight, because not looking too sharp for him right now. Midway through the field right now. Not a good starting position for him in this race, and the same thing happened at Darlington. He rebounded the midway through the field in that race, but right now he's running 26th. And Nicholas Samadillo, another guy who's up there in the points, also struggling, 4th in the points coming into this race. LJ Semedo not too far behind these guys as they're getting caught up in that accident, but they're all mid-pack, including Matt Tuck, who past 3 races has just been unbelievable for Matt here in the Wawa Cup Series. Started off the season so strong, and honestly still could be the points leader if all these mechanical issues did not happen to him throughout the season. But 3 straight mechanical issues here. Got to be careful there with Roberto Crown Jr., but they will all figure it out there as Brian Webb getting a little loose in front of Nicholas Samadillo. Well, we'll just pretend we didn't see any of that, and I hope they figure it all out. Chase Buck's figuring it out. He's led every lap so far here in North Wilkesboro. Trying to pull away here from Echo Evans-Ross. Dylan Matthews may be a bit faster than his teammate. We'll have to see if he can get around this 39.
Why does Derek always have great race cars for his team? I don't know why, but 2nd and 3rd for Hamill Racing Enterprises, playing with Chase down Chase Buck, but Buck is pulling away Toyotas 1, 2, 3, and I know it's a bit early on in this green flag one, about 10 laps in or so, maybe less than that, but lap traffic, I would imagine, if this thing stays green, will be a major factor at some point.
I would imagine so. Eric Monaco just crossing the line. Chase Buck entering turn number 3 right now, so if this does in fact stay green, we could see ourselves lap traffic before too long. Drew Webb here in 4th. Great run for him as of late here in the Wawa Cup Series. And you know what? Now he is in position to possibly take this points lead away from Thomas Troxel. He is, in fact, in position to do so. So as they run right now, Drew Webb will be the new points leader. And how about Drew Webb here in the Wawa Cup Series? Got that win at Kansas 2 weekends ago. And he has absolutely been on fire since then. And just the past few races in general have been really good for him as he has shot up to the 2nd position in the point standings. Seth Cole's another guy here. If he continues to run where he is right now, he could easily move himself into the top 10. As for 2nd, Dylan Matthews finally getting to the inside of Echo Evans-Ross. We're going to have to see if this 47, maybe this 99, have something for this 32 machine. Chase Bucks pulled away to about a 2nd lead right now, but if Matthews can clear Echo Evans-Ross, which he will, and that 47 may start to close in here. Drew Webb looking for 3rd here. Elijah Gordon still trying here on Seth Cole. Great night for Elijah here in the 69 machine for Andrews Racing. They're starting to figure some things out. Of course, tough break for Ludovic Charette earlier on. He's still 39th in the field after getting spun around in that first wreck. But Elijah definitely finding some speed here tonight. Actually had a good run at Bristol as well earlier this season. He's been pretty good on the short tracks.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe Echoes Evan Warhurst was holding these drivers up like Webb and Matthews, because those two have passed the 39 and now they're pulling away from the field. And don't look now, both of them are going to catch the Chase Buck as 3 wide. A aggressive move from Gordon here, 3 wide for, I believe, 4th place.
And he may get it here. Yeah, Seth Cole's going to find the advantage. Blaine Keys closed in quite a bit there. Now, this is another guy who needs a good run. Blaine Keys is 51 points behind the wild card, which is currently held by Rogel Dorn. Rogel not having a solid race here tonight at all. He's 34th right now. But Blaine Keys trying to rebound there in that wild card race after he won at Texas. Of all the guys who have won a race this season, won a points race, I should say, he's last in the points. But remember, he won the Melialis Moo Fest back in February. It's kind of a similar style racetrack in a way. Not as aggressive as New Smyrna, but still definitely going to suit Blaine Keys' style as Echo Evans-Ross continues to fall back. She's now in 7th. And it's not been a good season as of late for her here in this 39. Got the win at Coda, but since then, she has really fallen off in this 39 machine, and that's not been working out too well for her. But Chase Buck continuing the lead. However, Dylan Matthews is starting to close in here in the 47 machine. Drew Webb is still 3rd. I'd watch out for Drew in this race. He may get his 2nd win of the night. And here's the thing. Dylan Matthews, I know he wants to be in that Wawa Winter Showdown at Indianapolis on Tuesday. He's got to win this race, though, to qualify for that race. This is the last event before we get to that all-star race that we're going to have on Tuesday. And I know Matthews is going to definitely go for it here at North Wilkesboro. Checking through the field. Look at this right here. Brady Mardi Gras, Aliera, and Samet Ozkin. That's for 10th right there. And Ozkin had a good run. Started on the pole in the Sprint Series race on Wednesday night. Hanging on to a top 10. He won at Dover last time he was in this car in the Cup Series race. Justin Zidell trying to move his way through the field here in the 51 machine. He's to the inside of Chris Reynolds. See where Matt Tuck is. They're in 20th, trying to hang on here. And Nicholas Amadio and Thomas Troxel also kind of still midway through the field. How about Travis Crampton? Now it's 25th right now, but he started in the last row. His teammate Trinity Ida, they moved up fairly well there from starting in the last row. I know when we saw that, Nathan, it was like, oh my goodness. How could it get any worse for you guys in qualifying? But they are definitely trying to move their way through the field, and then we're still not even a third of the way through this race yet. So great run there for the NS Racing guys, all things considered.
Yeah, who knows, maybe they completely botched the qualifying setup and decided to work on the race pace, because both NS Racing cars started in the last row in 25th and 26th. But you know who else I think has the race pace, and I think might have a long one car, is 47 of Dylan Matthews. Slowly but surely, a 10 for 2 a lap is slowly catching in to 32 of Chase Buck, and we might have a battle for the race league here in a handful of laps.
Yeah, and we might have a battle right here. Echo Evans-Ross in the wall off the exit of turn 4. Not at all what she needs right there. She's got race damage there now, and that's not going to work out too well for her as this race goes along. Logan Williams for 7th. Good run for Williams, and Tanner Parton. I'm impressed with Tanner Parton in this 42. Tanner comes into this race tied with Matt Tuck there for 8th in the point standings, and another top 10 run for him right now. You know, he could easily make this chase the way things are going if he can keep this momentum up after this race here in North Wilkesboro. We'll go back to the race lead. Dylan Matthews These guys have 2 seconds on the rest of the field. Matthews going to try to close in, but the longer into a run we go, the harder it is to make a pass. But Elijah Gordon's going to try to make one here. I think he's going to get it on Seth Cole. That is going to be for the 4th position. How about this for Elijah Gordon? You know, last in points. I think he's still last in points coming into this race. He is. Hasn't even received 200 points yet this season. As a matter of fact, he's 200 points behind our points leader, Thomas Troxel. But a solid run for him here tonight. Here comes Blaine Keys for position on Seth Cole. And our last winner falling back a little bit right there after getting that win at Darlington last week. Chase Buck really wide again, but kind of utilizing that middle lane is a bit of an advantage to get those speeds down the straightaways.
Yeah, one thing that I kind of noticed in the Sprint Series race and out here in the Southern States 400 is that it's really a 2-lane racetrack. That second lane can kind of be used sometimes to carry some more speed and defend someone behind you. And then the guy behind is probably going to run in the inside lane like Matthews is doing. So I have to wait and see if Matthews can do anything. Mike watching the inside of King of Cullen here. And I know I've been in the booth a lot, and I always say this, but I love the name Brady Maguire. I love it. But trying to get to the inside.
Oh, that's tight with Tanner Parton. That's for the 10th, actually for the 9th position. Brady Mardigar trying to move up into 9th. Salmon Oskin, Aliera here, they're all battling for position right there, and it's a whole gaggle of cars there for that 9th position right now. They're about 5.5 seconds off the race lead. Luna Lona with a great run here in the 0-5. Had a great win yesterday in the Haas IndyCar Series in the Grand Prix of Indianapolis, and I'm sure she is going to want to bring that speed to qualifying tomorrow for the Indy 250. Of course, that'll be noon Eastern Time tomorrow right here on AG the channel. First day of Indianapolis 250 qualifications. Nicholas Samadillo in the 59, up to 21st. Thomas Trossel moving up. Matt Tuck falling back. When we were at Martinsville, it was these 3 guys going for the race win, and now they're all outside the top 20 here. Very, very interesting what's been going on as of late with these 3 guys who I thought were going to be the 3 to go for the championship, but things have really turned over quite a bit as of late here. And now you got Dylan Matthews, who very well could be a threat for this championship. Closing in, trying to get around this 32 before the cycle of pit stops begins. We're not that far away from it here. Lap 40 of 100 right now. And like I said, about a 60-lap fuel run for these guys. So once we hit lap 60, we might start to see some guys peek down to the inside. How about Elijah Gordon and Blaine Keys? 2 guys who are really fast later on in this run. They both got around Seth Cole. They're both on the back bumper of Drew Webb right now. And the 69 is trying to close in for 3rd. Blaine Keys there, trying to let Elijah Gordon do all the work for this position and maybe get a free pass on the 99, but Keys going to go a little wide in the corner. He may lose a little bit of ground, and Seth Cole still right there, and Logan Williams as well. All right there for the 3rd position, at about 3 seconds off the race lead of Chase Buck, who is still continuing to lead this race and has led every lap so far here in North Wilkesboro, just like he did at Bristol.
Maybe that number 99 does not have as good as a long car as these top 2, or these top 2 just have way better long car than the rest of the top 10. Who really knows? Almost halfway through this race, and is still the top 2 absolutely gone. And Blanky's a great one, but I am very curious, how close are we from the tail end of the field? We are having a nice long clean flag 1, and we are not close. But we are not far away whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, they're in the same corner now. Ludovic Charette, last driver in the field there in 39th. This is not good for Charette. He's going to fall back in the points after this one. Rogel Dorn, another driver who does not need a bad run here tonight. Kind of in a position where I think Echo Evans Ross may get that second wild card position the way they currently run, at least. Brain Perez, not a good run. It's been kind of a tough season since you've got that win at Phoenix. 3 wide. I want to watch for this. Travis Crampton, Chris Reynolds, Brian Webb, and here comes the 62 of Thomas Troxel. Now they're starting to really find some speed once again. Of course, his teammates leading this race, and a huge gaggle of cars right here. Speaking of the lead, I think this 47, closed in quite a bit. About a quarter of a second right there now on Chase Buck, but he is starting to really eat away here, and one mistake out of the 32, and this is a very easy place to make a mistake. See a lot of mistakes out of a lot of guys here in North Wilkesboro. F47 could be taking the race lead here shortly. It's really tight for the top position.
Man, oh man, this is getting very tight all over the back bumper for the race lead. Matthews and Buck. One mistake and Matthews could easily take it here. But Buck, got to give him credit. He's not made too many mistakes here tonight so far, and that's allowed him to stay ahead of Matthews, even though Matthews, I think, might have a little bit of a faster car late in this one, almost halfway through this thing. But I might have to keep an eye out for Travis Branson to maybe somehow get a top 10 starting in the last row. Absolutely flying. I'll be honest, you may feel like that scared me, but up to 18th after starting in the last row might easily get a top 10. You know, maybe they take it a long race setup in without me knowing. I don't know.
It might be the case there for the 98. You know, Crampton and Troxel doing an excellent job. Especially Crampton, who's moved up through half the field here on a short track, so that's very impressive in of itself. And with a good pit stop, he could actually find himself inside the top 10, like you mentioned, because it's going to shake up quite a bit once we get down the pit lane here. Halfway through the Southern States 400 in North Wilkesboro. And Chase Buck will get another bonus point towards the championship here for leading the most laps of this race. And that is going to go a long way for Chase in terms of the championship. Of course, every point matters in getting into the chase, and of course, where you finish in that top 10 also matters with how many bonus points you get heading into the chase. And of course, every win is worth 3 points if you make the chase, unless you're a wild card driver. No bonus points awarded to the 2 wild card drivers. But if you're top 10 in points, you do get bonus points for your wins and for your position in the point standings. Chase Buck, though, may not get a second win here because Dylan Matthews wants it in this 47. He's going to go all out for it here, trying to get to this 32. He doesn't need to pass him on the racetrack, though. That's the big thing. He can make the pass on the pit lane. Come down the pit lane, maybe pull a little strategy. Maybe his pit crew is a little bit better than Pacific Racing's pit crew. We'll just have to see if that, in fact, is the case. But regardless of the fact, Dylan Matthews absolutely with a fast car, and he's still right on the back bumper of Chase Buck. If they run in the lap traffic, we could see a pass for the race lead.
I think Matthews might have a little bit of a little bit better of a long one car than Buck at the moment. Really late into this one, about 5 to 7 laps away from pit stops from happening, and Matthews' car has really kicked into a new the last couple of laps. Unfortunately, lost some time that last lap, but have to see. And I'm impressed with Gordon. Last in points and fourth. Fantastic one for this team.
You know, something I'm noticing, these tires, I think they've given out. They are really slow through the corners right now. Well, we saw it Darlington last week, though. Seth Cole came in a couple laps later than everybody else, or at least the race leaders at the time, and he ended up winning that race. Of course, it went caution-free at Darlington last weekend. That ended up working in Seth Cole's favor. We'll have to see if something like that ends up playing out here. If you come down later, you may have the advantage on tires near the end of the race, and that could give you the race win. And Seth Cole's in a position to do the same as well, so we'll have to see if he tries that. Of course, he doesn't want to risk losing this top 10 because he's right there on the cutoff line, and he wants to get as many points as he can to have an opportunity at a championship. Dylan Matthews absolutely wants a shot at this title as well, and he definitely deserves it the way he's been running so far this season, but just hasn't been able to get around Chase Buck. It's just so hard to make a pass right now. I will say, I'm impressed with Brady Mardigras up to 8th. This is another driver who needs a good run. 27th in points coming into this race for him. Absolutely has not been a good season for him at all. Troxel has gotten around Crampton. He's now 18th in the 62 machine. Hey, Matt Tuck's up to 21st. Maybe a pit strategy cycle could, in fact, finally help that 54 out. He needs a good run after all that's happened to him as of late. But how about this? 5 seconds ahead of third for Chase Buck and Dylan Matthews here. They are flying around here and closing in on the end of the field. Ladovic Charette there as Dylan Matthews might have a shot here to get to the inside. Not quite yet. I feel like Drew Webb might be holding these guys up just a little bit. They're all stacked up behind the 99, but just a couple laps, we'll see these guys come down the pit lane.
Yeah, I think Lawrence did something with the 99. I think he was fast in the short one, but especially lately, it went from 2 seconds to 3 seconds to now 4, and now almost 5 seconds back from the top 2. And Gordon trying to finally get past the 99 right before pit stops. Gordon trying to get a third place one here tonight.
If he can get this pass made on Drew Webb, maybe pull a little strategy, he may be in contention to win this race. That would be impressive. Hey, we saw a Sprint Series driver win at Dover. Elijah Gordon could absolutely pull off a race victory. He's a guy who I know is trying to get something to go his way this season. And open the door for Blaine Keys finally. It took a while for Gordon to get around Drew Webb right there. But now Drew Webb kind of stuck on this outside lane. Logan Williams trying to get on Seth Cole right here. We did have that caution. So with that, they may come down a little bit later than what we anticipated. But we'll see if they peek down here. Chase Buck, Dylan Matthews still staying out there. I'm Elijah Gordon. Ah, there you go. I'm Blaine Keys. I'm coming down now. And here we go. The cycle begins. Blaine Keys, Logan Williams, Brady Mardi Gras, Tanner Parton down the pit lane. Now you just have to hold your breath and hope that they don't wreck out here. Of course, it's been a clean race other than that one moment we had earlier on. Here come our race leaders, Chase Buck and Dylan Matthews. Elijah Gordon, Drew Webb, and Salmon Oskin going to stay out right here in the 75. Hey, you know what? He won a race on strategy. Why not try it again? We'll have to see if that 75 can pull something out of his hat again. That would be amazing if he wins 2 Cup races. And he was top 10 right there. Crampton staying out. Fisher G staying out. Kukulon also staying out. Oskin will get a lap led. Oh, contact there between Dylan Matthews and Logan Williams on the pit lane. That's not going to be good for the 47. And Blaine Keys going to win the race off of those guys who came down first. Williams going to get held up because of that contact. Here is our race leader, Chase Buck in the 32. What will he do? He's got 4 tires. He's going to go, but so is Dylan Matthews. They're right on each other there. Where is the 55? Did he gain any advantage on these drivers? It does not look like he did. May not even get around Elijah Gordon. That's going to be tight right there between those 2 drivers, but Blaine Keys will jump to 69, but this 32 way out in the head here at North Wilkesboro, and it may end up taking a caution now for someone else other than Chase Buck to go to victory lane. But Chase Buck may be the caution, who knows? Brad Stover coming off the pit lane at the end of the field right there, and Chase Buck on the outside lane. Dylan Matthews still very much in this race in the 47. They're finally cycling through. Chase Buck back to the race lead. And then it's Blaine Keys, Elijah Gordon, Brady Mardi Gras, Drew Webb, 82 of Seth Cole. Salmon Oskin files in the 8th. Logan Williams and Tanner Parton. That is the top 10. Justin Zaidel, Christian Vargas there, Aliera, Trey Wright, Roberto Crown Jr. I think they're a lap down. Luna Lona's 14th, Christian Master, Brian Webb, Troxel up to 18th, still in the 18th position. Matt Tuck there in 21st. Sam Adio with a very poor run in this race, not at all what we expected. And as a matter of fact, the race leader not too far behind, bumping there with Sebastian Kukulon for 27th. But Chase Buck now, the race leader here at North Wilkesboro. After that cycle of pit stops, we have ourselves 10 drivers a lap down. So 30 drivers on the lead lap. It'll be 29 once Chase Buck gets around Brad Stover here, and he wants that lap car in between him and Dylan Matthews.
Well, we didn't quite catch up with lap traffic before pit stops. Well, we put 10 cars a lap down, and now we are going to have lap traffic for the rest of this one. 30 to go out the line this time, 5. And I think because of it being a short track, the 47
that was tight.
Decided to not repair the damage and just go for broke here, but maybe that might affect him, not entirely sure. But Matthews wants to get past the 48 episode as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely, and I don't know how much of the damage would be affecting him. Of course, this is a short track, but a bit of a high-speed short track, so I'd imagine the aero might have some bit of an effect. And hey, this is the next-gen car, so you know how that goes. But Blaine Keys, a great run for him, and he needs these points. You know, the extra win, like I said, doesn't give him an advantage. It's just a matter of having the win, being a part of that wildcard race, and then, of course, the top 2 drivers in points who have wins outside the top 10. Blaine Keys trying to get as many as he can. Elijah Gordon fell back to 5th there through that cycle. LJ Cemento a lap down, of course, was caught up in that accident earlier on. Seth Cole in the 82 is 6th. Logan Williams, Drew Webb fell back quite a bit there, but he may have taken some time to work on the setup on this car. Tanner Parton, still top 10 for him. That's great news for this team trying to make it into the chase. And Justin Zaidel trying to get into the top 10 here. Of course, his teammate Matt Tuck hasn't been the best of runs for him here tonight, 21st, but that's still miles better than what it has been for Matt Tuck as of late. And let me tell you, Chase Buck pulling away from this field. Now a second lead on Dylan Matthews, and then 5 seconds on third place. Reminds me a lot of Bristol because he dominated that race there. The Krispy Kreme 500. He's doing the same here as we got 25 laps to go in the North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Well, in the Smith Series, I jinxed Philip Torres and got involved in a crash. Tonight, I picked Chase Buck because of the fact that he dominated Bristol, and looks like that might be a good pick as of now, but I want to count out the Gavelle Staple jinx. Still a long way to go here in this one. I bet Matthews would love to see that happen, but if that does not happen, this might be all she wrote for Chase Buck, because Matthews cannot get past Stover. Meanwhile, Buck keeps on pulling away.
Oh, he's a little wide there. He's got to be careful because if he makes a mistake, Dylan Matthews can come right into play. You know, I'm surprised that we've only had the one caution in this race. These guys slide off the exit of turn 4 like it's nobody's business, and we saw that cause a couple of wrecks on Wednesday night. Here comes Troxel trying to get around the lap car of Roberto Crown Jr. It's such a tough break for them. 37th in this race. Ladovic sure had a tough run. Of course, got caught up in that accident earlier on. Troxel moving up to 17th now. Echo Evans Ross down to 18th. It's just not been a good run for her so far in this one, and she continues to slide back in that 39 machine. Meanwhile, Brad Stover still kind of holding up Dylan Matthews right here. I think that 47 is getting a little impatient because Chase Buck's kind of pulling away here. He's got a lot of cars in front of him, and a lot of good cars at that. Alex Rampas in the 74. I mean, he almost got the win on Wednesday night. But these guys might affect this 32, and if Dylan Matthews can get around Brad Stover, he might have an opportunity at closing in on Chase Buck, especially if the 32 continues to do this.
Boy.
What in the world is going on there? That is not what you want to do. And Chase Buck kind of struggling out there. We're going to have to see if Dylan Matthews can, in fact, close in, but he's got to get around the 48 first to do so.
That's 2 times in the last handful of laps that Chase Buck has gone way up the racetrack. I don't know if they went the wrong way on the adjustments for the pit stop or what, but that's 2 times where he went way wide in these corners, and it's one thing to do what Matthews did in the second lane. It's another thing for Buck to get tight and go up to the 3rd and 4th lane and then almost smack the wall. So Buck needs to be careful. Maybe he's either pushing it too hard or the car is going to get a little bit tight here, but now he's going to catch up a handful of lap traffic here at North Wilkesboro.
And Alex Rampas in the 74, not Joe Rutkowski this week. A little shake up there in the sprint series. And Rampas going to hold up this 32 machine just a little bit right here. But Chase Buck going to try to make easy work on the 74, but can't quite hold the inside. You know, the good thing for Chase Buck, he does have Brad Stover in between him and Dylan Matthews here. So he's got some breathing room right here and doesn't have to make the pass on the 74 right away. But got to be careful not to get held up too much behind the 74. Good thing is, it's a bit of a shorter race here. Only 100 laps instead of 125. Rampas in the wall. That happened right in front of the leader. Oh, and a wreck in front of the leader. That's a caution. Matt Tuck caught up in this one with Chris Reynolds. Someone else involved as well, and that, my friend, is going to shake up everything. Now, the good news for Chase Buck, he does have 2 lap cars in between him and Dylan Matthews. The bad news, those lap cars are going to be hungry to get their lap back. Well, oh, boy.
The
tables have turned.
A line in front of Chase Buck, and then they went in front of him. And I think Buck might have got a little bit of a side scrape, but shouldn't be much of a factor. If Matthews got hit on pit road, then a little bit of a scrape shouldn't do it, but tough wait. Well, we are not over in this one.
It's not. I mean, the thing is, for Chase Buck, there's so many lap traffic cars in between him and, well, him in second place, and then miles behind his third place, Blaine Keys. Brady Mardi Gras is 4th. Then you got Elijah Gordon in 5th. Seth Cole is 8th. Logan Williams, Drew Webb, Tanner Parton, and Justin Zidell. And that right there, for Matt Tuck in the 54, That's going to put him outside the chase, and he's going to be part of the wild card race then because of that. Just one thing after another for this team. Seidel running well in this race for Grattan Autosport, but Matt Tuck just can't seem to find the rhythm here. Definitely getting interesting in that Grattan Autosport camp. Well, a late race wreck. We're going to have under 10 laps to go when we restart. Let's first see what happened to bring out the second caution of the night here in the Southern States 400 at North Wilkesboro. I don't know if there's some beef going on between Chris Reynolds and Braden Perez, but this 18 just cut right down into the 23 and then shot Perez up in the Matt Tuck. This happened right after Alex Rampas almost got in the Chase Buck there as he spun around, and then those three drivers went into the outside wall. And again, this is the fourth race in a row for Matt Tuck. I mean, so many races for this team where they've had issues. And this is going to put him below the cutoff after this because he's going to fall a lap down as Chase Buck drove around him. Unbelievable what has been going on here for Matt Tuck and this team. Hopefully they can rebound here soon, at least for their sake. But that's what happened there. Bring out the second caution of the night here at North Wilkesboro.
Here we go. Reynolds in the 23 of Perez. I don't know if beef happened early on in the race, but Tuck, an innocent fire scene to get taken out in this one. And Tuck played for the fourth straight race in the row for Tuck. Buck, on the other hand, got a little bit of a tap, but shouldn't be much of a factor, but have to wait and see on the restart here with a late race restart.
Yeah, we're going to have to see what happens. Alex Rampas there in the 74. I don't know if this car is fast enough to get back around the inside of Chase Buck there, but Dylan Matthews only 2 cars away. A lot of lap traffic up here because we had that long green flag run. It's going to play in the Buck's favor, but will he get the win? Let's find out as we get to the restart here in the Southern States 400 in North Wilkesboro. We're back here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Chase Buck gonna have to earn this one here tonight. Gonna be 9 laps to go. Now the good thing for Chase, he's got 2 lap cars in between him and Dylan Matthews. Alex Rampas in the 74 and then Brad Stover in the 48. And then all the way back here is third place of Blaine Keys. All those guys in between Matthews and Keys a lap down. Brady Mardi Gras and Elijah Gordon are 4th and 5th. But I don't think anyone's going to be a factor other than Dylan Matthews, and only if Chase Buck gets stuck in the outside lane. Back underway, and a great jump at the start. That 74 is way off the pace. And that's exactly what you need if you're Chase Buck trying to get this race victory here at North Wilkesboro.
Buck might win this thing depending on what happens with these lap cars, and if Matthews cannot get past these two with only 8 laps to go, this might be all she will. But at the same time, these 2 lap cars might want to get their lap back in case we get a race caution.
And of course, 5 lap caution periods here at North Wilkesboro, so the point of no return is just a couple laps from now. Rampas is right there trying to close back in on this 32 machine. But even if Chase Buck gets stuck on the outside, there might be enough of a gap to where Matthews doesn't close in. This could get interesting, though, because Chase Buck kind of still running it wide, and if that 74 finds a nose to the inside, yeah, it could get kind of interesting, and that 74 is trying. Well, Sprint Series driver, get in the way of our race leader. I don't know, Chase Buck's doing an excellent job. He's been doing an excellent job this entire race after starting on the pole position. Dylan Matthews gave it all he possibly could. But just not going to be enough. 5 laps to go here in the Southern States 400 for Chase Buck and Pacific Racing. Looking to get their 4th win as a team this season. Been a great run for him. His teammate Thomas Troxel is 16th. Sam Medeo kind of deep in the field there. First, Drew Webb also up there in the points, 7th right now. Dylan Matthews running well, so 2 of those guys going to close in the Troxel. Sam Medeo is going to fall back. The points are going to be very interesting at the end of tonight's event. But Chase Buck's going to be back up there, looking to get his 2nd win of the season. This means there are going to be only 12 drivers in the Wawa Winners Showdown on Tuesday at Indianapolis. Tough break for Dylan Matthews, not going to be able to get into it there in the 47. But Chase Buck, what a race this has been for him, and just like it was at Bristol, nearly flag to flag. Didn't lead every lap, but still a great performance for this 32 team.
Chase, but I picked them to win. And for once, it's gonna play out to perfection. Chase Buck has someone on these short tracks this season, apparently, especially on short tracks where it tends to be hard to pass. Bristol and North Wilkesboro coming to the white flag for Chase Buck.
And of course, only a couple more short tracks left in the season for Chase Buck, so we're gonna have to see how he does as the season rolls along. But obviously, Pacific Racing knows what they're doing on the short tracks. They got these places figured out, and Chase Buck has his place figured out. A win in his home state. Chase Buck's gonna win the Southern States 400 in the Wawa Cup Series. Dylan Matthews will finish second. Third place will be Blaine Keys. Pretty good battle back in there. Seth Cole, Logan Williams at the top 5. Mardi Gras down to 6th. Drew Webb in 7th. And then Elijah Gordon in 8th. Samet Ozkin in 9th. And Justin Zeidel rounding out the top 10. That was an interesting race. That was an interesting race. Like I said, very, very similar to Bristol. Just as I said at the top of the show, I have a feeling this race might play out kind of like Bristol. Well, it kind of exactly played out like Bristol. 2 cautions, and Chase Buck led nearly every single lap. The thing for Chase Buck, though, is, like I said, there's really only one more true short track left on the schedule, that being Richmond in July. So we'll just have to see if that favors him. His teammate kind of just had a mid-run here, 15th. But Matt Tuck, another guy who, just issue after issue after issue for him. I don't know what they're going to do over there at Grattan Autosport. But not looking good for Matt Tuck right now. He's going to fall back outside the top 10 in points and is going to be in that wild card race now. But the good thing for him, Seth Cole, I think, is going to move into the top 10 in points. So that's going to knock him out. And then a lot of the other guys who do have wins didn't have a good run today. So we'll see how those points end up shaking out. Nathan, very interesting race. Probably one of the calmer races we've had this season. But next week it's Charlotte. It's going to be wild there. First half of the season is complete. What are your takeaways from the first half of the season? And maybe have an early championship favorite?
Well, we thought we had some championship favorites in San Mateo, Tuck, and Watso, but they all had bad ones here tonight. So, what might get into that conversation? Matthews, maybe Chase Buck, maybe Tampa. Have to wait and see, but definitely a calm race. It was maybe a little bit tough to pass up front, but it was apparently throughout the field you were able to make some passes. Like Crampton started in the back, finished 16th. Aya in the back, 25th, among others. So it was able to pass, but it was tough to pass, and unfortunately, for Daniel Paulus Jr., last on the racetrack, 2 laps down, no one crashed out, but we did have a few crashes. But dominating performance for Chase Buck and a relatively calm one here at North Wilkesboro.
Definitely an interesting race, and you know what? I'm excited to see the real-life race here on Sunday night for the All-Star race. I've been kind of critical of North Wilkesboro in real life. I don't think it's going to be the save-all track for NASCAR, but I got to admit, it's cool to see it return, and I think we're going to have a decent showing this weekend. Hey, it's better than Texas, am I right? Anything's better than Texas. Chase Buck, though, gets it done here in North Wilkesboro, second win of the season. And the first half of the Wawa Cup Series season is complete. Only 5 races left to go until the cutoff at Nashville about a month from now. And it's going to be interesting to see how it all goes down. Next race here in the Wawa Cup Series, the Wawa Winter Showdown. Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The winner of that race receives $25. And then the owner winner receives $10. And hey, Travis may win that, Nathan. You may get something out of that. I'll give the money to you guys in person then if that ends up happening. But we'll just have to see. 12 drivers in that race. Aliera, Matt Tuck. Got to remember all the drivers who won this season. Travis Crampton, Braden Perez, Thomas Troxel, Echo Evans Ross, Chase Buck, of course, won at Bristol. Blaine Keys in the 55. Rogel Dorn in the 1. Samet Ozkin will be in the 75. Seth Cole and Drew Webb all going to be running in that event. And one of them is going to get the $25 grand prize and get the race victory at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll have qualifying for that race on Monday. And speaking of qualifying, tomorrow at noon Eastern Time is the first day for Indy 250 qualification, single car qualifications for the Indianapolis 250, and of course, all leading up to next Saturday's Indianapolis 250 race, Saturday, May 27th at noon Eastern Time. Congratulations to Chase Buck for grabbing the race victory here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. A huge thanks to Nathan Stabler for joining me for the call here tonight. And next week we will head to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Coca-Cola 600, 150 miles in that race. It's going to be the longest race of the season. It's going to be a blast leading right into the Indy 250 the next day. So stick around, the second half of the season just around the corner. Going to be a great one there from Charlotte. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. Here are the point standings for the Wawa Cup Series after 15 races. And we will see you guys next week from the Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Coca-Cola 600. Congratulations to Chase Buck on his race victory here at North Wilkesboro. And I will see you guys later.